Today's guest is Kinnari Patel from Ahmedabad, India, but she now lives in the San Francisco area. She's one of my newest friends, like brand spanking new. We just met a few weeks ago, but I can already tell she's cool. So here we are on the friendship tour. Hi, Kinnari.
Hi, so happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you too. It's like we just met and now we're solidifying our relationship by meeting up again. So thank you so much for being here today. I would have completely understood if you said no, we just met, right? But thank you. Thank you so much for doing this today.
No, I'm so happy. I'm happy to be a part of your friendship tour.
Thank you. Is it okay if I tell everyone how we met?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So we met over spring break just a few weeks ago. We met in the San Francisco airport. We were both on our way to Japan. I was traveling with my three little boys. They're 7, 5, and 3, and my uncle. And we had a late night flight. My husband was actually traveling to Japan for work, and we just tagged along. But as a result, he was on a different flight. My husband and co kid wrangler was on a different flight. How very nice for him, right? So I was doing my very best to keep the kids entertained, but it was 11 p.m. and they were so wiggly, and I was really quite tired at that point. Then my kids saw another little boy, and the parents and I kind of looked at each other and we gave each other like the look, the head nod, like, yeah, it's good. They can play together. And they just started playing, and they were playing so hard. But we were definitely okay with it because it gave us a little break from entertaining the kids just for a little while. But that's all we needed to kind of get our energy back for the flight. So they played, they worked up an appetite, and then it was time for snacks. And I pulled out our little snack bag, and instead of my three little boys at the snack table, I had four little boys at the snack table. And at this point, Kennedy and I introduced ourselves to one another. We worked together to hand out the snacks, and we just chatted a bit. We mostly talked about our plans for the next week, like what we were going to do in Japan. But she was just so sweet and so kind and so nice. Yeah, she was just really nice. But finally, it was time to board, and off we went to Japan. So a week and a half later, we were at Narita Airport in Tokyo, checking in for our flight back to San Francisco. And who did we see? The Patel family. And this is when our new friendship, I think, really began. We were just really excited to be reunited. The kids were very happy to see each other. And at this point, I was traveling solo as an adult. My uncle had gone on to a different country. So it was just me with the three little boys. So I'm not going to lie. Like, I was a little bit relieved to see you, Kinnari. But yeah, you tell me more. I'll let Kinnari tell you more of the story. So what did you guys think when you saw us again in the Tokyo airport?
Seeing you and your family again, like especially the boys, we were so happy. I don't know what made us so happy just seeing it, you guys. And because I remember our conversation when we actually met at SF airport, you said you're flying 1 day late. So
Yes.
I was like, okay, you're going to fly 1 day late, but we are flying on this date. And suddenly, when I see you at the airport at the same time in the same flight, I was like, oh wow, they're flying with us again. And especially the boys, like they played so nicely. Like first thought came to my mind was honestly was how the kids played. Is this like being a single mom? I'm a little bit selfish, but I'm sure you will understand being a boy mom that boys always look around for some friendship where they can do the same things, like play with something, like they are boys play different ways. So when
Yeah.
I saw you guys, I was like, oh my god, Ayan is going to have the best time. And I till then I did not know that we are going to be friends, but I knew the boys are friends. So then that
Yes.
was the time when it made me really feel happy that okay, we have a 7-hour layover in Taiwan. So Ayan is going to be fine. That was my first thought in mind. Yeah, but we were so
That's
happy.
true. I was thinking the whole trip. I knew that we had this 7 hour layover coming up, and I was going to be by myself with the kids. And I was looking forward to the trip, but I wasn't looking forward to the 7 hour layover. And I kept thinking, how are we going to keep them entertained for 7 hours? And then I saw you, and I'm like, yep, we're making friends today. So it just worked out perfectly. And you guys were so very kind. I mean, your husband kind of went ahead of us to find cool things for us to do, fun things for us to do. He found the lounges where we could eat and relax. And then we had been sitting in that lounge too long, so he found another lounge for us to sit and relax. And he went ahead and found some place for the kids to play video games. And we stayed together. The moms kind of stayed together as a team, but he went out on his little scouting missions to find cool stuff, and then he would come back and tell us so we would know where to go next. And you guys were just so nice and fun and kind. You bump into people all the time. You travel with people like all the time, but they're not always so kind. So why were you so kind to me in the airport? You didn't have to be. Like, why were you?
So, being kind to you and your boys was like at the airport. It is also my second nature. Like I think appreciating people around you is really important, and that's just me. And like being a parent itself, I know how challenging it is for you as like traveling with three kids and especially all alone at like especially it was the first time when we met, it was a late night flight. That moment itself, I told my husband, oh my god, she's traveling all by herself with three kids, and like that kicked me. I was like, so and offering help to someone, like especially because it is not always you do it, but the front person also has to accept that, right? And that
Yeah.
that smile on your face, still with the smile that you have is beautiful. The help that help that you accept as well is very important, and the friendly conversations that we had the first time itself made me feel that okay, you know what, no, I think I really like this person. And then however, like you observe the person as well when you meet, and the kindness that you showed towards my son as well, like when they were all the three of them were sitting for snack time at midnight, and you just extended that to my son as well, and then he's like, oh, I'm a vegetarian, so you offered him fruits and in fact packed for him as well for the flight. So he was
Hmm.
so happy about it. And that when you see small gestures from another mom, you really feel that that there's a connection. You find yourself, your nature in that person, that okay, she's kind as well, and so you want to have that connection. So maybe that's what made me be kind to you while you were even traveling back alone and without your uncle this time. So I was like, oh, you know what, we must help her. Like, and I really liked you the first second itself when you offered him and you asked him, can you go and ask your mom, is it okay if I have fruits? And he was, and I really liked that. And then moment he said in the flight, he's like, Mama, you know what? That aunt gave me grapes and I'm so happy about it. So those
Aw.
small things, it really matters a lot.
Well, it's happy to, or it's easy to be happy when you see your kids happy. When I see my kids
That's true.
playing nicely with your kid and you and your husband were over there looking nice and happy together, it was just very easy to be happy and to, I don't know, to just hang out and start talking.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we meet people in places and they can be nice, they can be kind, but it's weird. It's like, can you make the next step? Can you transition from being airport friends to being real friends? People who meet outside the airport, who go to lunch, who go to the birthday parties together. I don't remember if you offered your contact information first or I did. Do you remember?
Probably it will be me because I have come across such situations where my son, it's like before me, my son is like that. Mama, can you please take this mom's number? I want to actually have connection. I want to meet those friends again. He
Yeah.
genuinely had a connection where, the boys played so well. They were sharing stuff. They were taking care of each other, or even like just the fact that, removing something from your bag and giving it to Ayan. Like that's the, like I know kids do share, but sharing to someone whom you have just met for 5 minutes, that
Yeah.
really makes a lot of difference. And then the way we walked for almost or stayed or waited at the airport for 7 hours, and our conversations, it's always, as I mentioned, it's a two-way communication as well, right? And the way
Yeah.
we share
I
everything towards friendship or towards the culture differences, I think for that moment I really felt like it was uh, important. I should take your number, and that's what made me take your number. Yeah.
Well, thank you for initiating the whole let's keep in touch conversation because sometimes it's weird. You don't know if the connection is mutual or if the person is just being nice. You don't always know. So thank you for initiating the conversation about staying in touch. Yeah, I was thinking about what made me think that we could be real life friends, not just airport friends. And definitely, you were so kind and thoughtful. I keep saying that. You're so kind, but you don't know me. Like, you didn't know me at all. And when we got off the airplane, your seats were closer to the front of the plane. So you got off first with your family. And when we got off, you guys were waiting at the end of the ramp for us. And I was just shocked. I mean, you didn't have to do that. There was no reason that you needed to stay and wait for us. But my kids were so excited to see their new friend at the end of the ramp, and I was excited to see you. And you picked up like one of my bags. My kids have. I told them don't pack more in your little backpack than your little person can carry. They still pack more than they can carry. You know, they're little, they get tired. So in the end, it's me carrying all their little backpacks and putting them in the stroller. But you saw all that and you just started picking up backpacks and helping me help make my load lighter. So I knew the way that you responded to my family, and I knew that we could be friends in real life. Then, and this one, I'll show you what I have today. You can't see, but I have my little mug of tea. Everyone knows I love tea. And when we were sitting in the lounge, they had like yucky tea, right? It wasn't great tea.
That's
But I think at that point I switched to wine. But they had tea, and you reached over in your bag and you took out your own tea. And I was just like, yes, we can be friends. She carries her own tea with her wherever she goes. And I said something to you at the moment. I was like, what? You brought your own tea? But for me, it was just like a little detail that many people, they don't do that. They don't carry their own tea. So when I saw that you had your own, I texted my husband right then. I was like, oh, she brought her own tea. We're friends. So that was really funny. And then there was a third thing that made me feel like we were going to be friends. We had to be friends. My kid, I won't say which one. I don't want to embarrass him, but he ate all the chicken nuggets in the lounge. All of the chicken nuggets. Just and I think you and I were talking, so I wasn't fully monitoring his chicken nugget intake. But he ate all of the chicken nuggets that were available. And later, as soon as we walked out, he's like, Mommy, my tummy hurts. Mommy, my tummy hurts. And he said it over and over and over again. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Someone's tummy always hurts. It's just life, it's life with little kids. And your husband turned to me and he said, is your kid likely to throw up when his tummy hurts? And I said, no, my kids, they don't usually throw up. And he's like, okay. So we walked on, sat down, and then my kid just puked in the airport. And I turned and I looked, and you were all I had at that point. You were all I had. So you had to be my friend. I had to deal with the vomit on the clothes and on the floor, and I had to leave like my other two kids with you for a few minutes so I could deal with that situation. So thank you for being my friend in that moment. I don't know what we would have done in that situation. I mean, maybe we wouldn't have been in the lounge eating all the nuggets in the first place. I don't know. But yeah, I really, truly, as a mom, needed help, and I appreciated you being there. And yeah, it was your husband came back and he's like, "Oh, he really did throw up." And I was like, "Yeah." And he tried to warn me, but I just didn't. I didn't hear it. So thank
The
you.
good part was that he was fine before the takeoff, so that was good at least.
Yeah, he was fine. So it really was. He just needed to get rid of what was in his belly. And I knew we were going to talk today. So I've been saving my tea for
Oh,
today.
wow. Did
So
you
this
like
is
it?
I love it. It is so good. It's a masala chai and it is
Oh,
very, very yummy. I honestly don't drink a lot of masala chai, but this one is very, very good. So thank you for sharing it with me. Thank you for being the type of person who packs your own tea. Thank you for being a good
no,
friend.
next time you have to come home for an actual tea, which I will make for you.
Well, I was thinking about that because when you picked up the tea, your husband saw how excited I was about you having it. And he said, "Oh, well, usually she just makes it herself and it's so yummy." And I was thinking, how can I get to their house for this homemade
Oh
masala
yes,
chai?
you have to. You have to. We will plan for it. I think the
Okay.
summer vacation is as well coming, so I'm sure you
Yes.
have the same time summer vacation for the kids, so we should plan something.
That sounds good. That sounds good. So I usually ask some of these questions at the beginning, but I'm going to ask some now. Do you have a favorite friendship moment? If not, I have a couple I can fill in, but I'll ask you first.
No, I do have. One of the best one it was in that 7 hour layover at Taiwan, where we totally flipped the potential, the boring moment into an adventure. It was awesome. Like really did not realize that 7 hours. We were sitting there for
Yeah.
7 hours, and I thought, oh, and my husband is like, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, fine. We went and sat next to the gate, and I remember that one moment where how it changed, like, to 180, and I was like, oh, is she my friend? And I was just sharing you all my. Uh, it was all deep chats about how friendship is, how there's difference between East Coast and the West Coast folks, and like it
Yes.
was eye opening for me as well to just see, how your insights were the same, uh, and like it was like totally. You were giving your insights, and it was totally different to me as well. Like, your world and my world, but almost similar experiences.
Yeah.
And not even for a second you were hesitant to give me your feedback on whatever I was going through as a boy mom, and you were saying the same thing, like I'm going through the same thing. So, sometimes you think that, uh, there could be everything good around people, but you really don't know unless you talk and you get feedback about what you can do, and like you giving your feedback, I was like, okay, this lady is really listening to my thoughts. So I need to be friends with her. And that moment clicked that, okay, I really enjoy talking to you. Like, there was no reason for me to share with you any thoughts about my friendship or about people around me. And the way you were giving your thoughts as well and your insights was beautiful. That
Oh, I
that
enjoyed
moment.
that conversation. Yeah, I enjoyed that conversation so much. I think it got cut off when my son threw up. I think that was the moment we stopped talking. But
That's okay.
yeah, but that's cool. It was a really cool conversation. Um, can I tell you my favorite friendship moment? I have two
Yes.
actually. The
Okay.
first was when we got to, not the first in terms of chronological order, but yeah, just the first I'm going to share. When we got to San Francisco, again, you were off the plane way before us. we went in separate lines, based upon our passports. So I felt like we had kind of said goodbye already. I didn't know that I was going to see you again. I felt like we said goodbye. But we finally got through immigration and customs, border patrol, whatever that area is called. And when I got to the other side, you were waiting there. You already had your luggage, but you were waiting there with a luggage cart for me.
Yeah.
And it was the kindest thing ever. And your husband was like, okay, where's your luggage? Where's your luggage? And I said, I don't even have any. My husband's on another flight. He's going to bring the luggage. And in that moment, I wanted so much luggage because I wanted to be able to respond to your kindness with like loading up the luggage cart. But I can't tell you how much that small gesture meant. You guys could have gotten your luggage and just gone home. We had been traveling at that point for a very long time. You could
Yeah.
have gotten your luggage, left the airport, and gone home, and I would have never thought anything about it. But instead, you stayed behind. You got a luggage cart for this woman who was a stranger hours
With
before.
three kids.
With three kids, yes, but it was very, very, very kind. And the other thing, I already talked about how I like tea, and you packed your own tea. So when we were parting ways, you gave me your tea. You gave me 3 packs of masala chai, which was really such a beautiful gesture. You did not have to give it to me, and I don't know what it cost you to do so, but it was very, very, it was very, very kind, and it was a gift that you didn't have to give. I could have just said, "Oh, I love tea," and you could have said, "Okay, nice to meet you." But instead, you took some little packs out and you gave them to me as we parted ways. So I thought that was really truly beautiful. And I've heard people say it's tough to make friends. It's tough to make new friends. I never meet new people. I don't know. Everyone has these stories about how they can't make friends or they don't make friends or they never meet nice people. And then I meet you. And I've heard this expression to have a friend, you have to be a friend.
True.
And that made me think you must have a lot of friends because you're a very good friend, even to strangers in the airport. And I've also heard to be a friend, you have to show yourself friendly, show yourself to be friendly. I'm not sure how the quote goes, but you are truly a friendly person. I mean, you're beyond nice, beyond kind, and you're truly a friendly person. Doing the things that sometimes you can't get people to do, like getting the luggage cart, helping with the kids, dishing out the snacks, watching the kids while I go clean up vomit in the airport. Like those are things that friends do. Those are not things that strangers in an airport do. So thank you for being such a good friend. You're one of my newest friends, but you're kind of stuck with me now. So
No, I'm so
um,
happy. I'm
that's just the
really,
way it
really
is.
happy. I am so happy actually. Like, honestly, being friendly is one nature, but taking and responding to that, like how you responded, even making a gesture, like, hey, can you come on my podcast? It also shows that you are genuinely friendly and you also have put in that much equal effort how much I have put. Even if I'm friendly and if it is not going to be a two-way communication, it's not going to happen, right? So I
Right.
think that matters a lot.
Yeah. Well, I will end here with this little story. 2 nights ago, we were sitting at the dinner table, and my youngest son, who I've said is 3, my youngest son said, "Mommy, I miss my friend from the airport."
Oh,
And I said, "Oh." And then my middle son, who's 5, said, "I do too, Mommy. When can we see him again?" And my oldest son was like, "Yeah, Mommy, can you call? Can you call their mom?" And I said, "Yes. In fact, I'm going to call her on Friday. So I will tell her that you guys want to have a play date or something." So please know that your friendship and your son's friendship is much appreciated by my whole family. My husband wasn't there, but we did try to loop him in. We called him so he could meet your
yes.
family like
That's right.
in the
You did
airport.
talk to him.
Um,
Yes.
yes, you did talk to him. I think he was it was funny because I think he was already in bed and he's like, "Really? You want me to like talk to people in an airport?" But he was a good sport about it all and he knows how much I think about you now. So this summer you live close enough that we can actually hang out in real life, not just in airports. Let's make a
And
plan to do
you have to
so.
come for Ayan's
I know
birthday
we
party.
have Yes, please. That would be great. And we have all of our birthdays are in the summer too. So I think there are plenty of opportunities for us to hang out. Yeah.
Correct. Yes, I look forward to it, and I will definitely tell the kids. Ayan has been missing them as well, and he has already told me, "Mama, please send Aunt the number, my birthday invite invitation on her number." So I have to
Aw,
send you. So just tell the boys we are meeting soon.
sounds good. Sounds good. And thank you again for being here today. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much. It was nice as well.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.